Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. It has been a long time. I've been away, I've been traveling, I had a really big birthday. It's been a wild ride. All right, let's do a twin flame reading because I'm chomping at the bit. It already came out. As you know, masculine's on the left, feminine's on the right, and union energy's down the center. Okay, Spirit, anything else for masculines? Anything else for masculines? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Complementary colors. Okay, we have throat chakra and sacral chakra. Okay, masculines are adjusting and tuning into their healing frequencies. What does that mean? A moment of recalibration. Oh, okay. Are we doing all this? We are. We are. Yep, karmic completion, and then we have self-love in reverse. So yeah, part of what the masculine energies have been learning to confront over these months and years has been taking accountability for their missteps, taking accountability for their emotional truth. It's like a little kid spilling the milk. That's the visual I'm being shown. When a little kid spills the milk, you can't really get mad at them because they're in this learning process. And so, this is such a hard, my heart is going out to everyone who has been, in the position to receive the pain, to have been hurt by spilled milk. This is how the masculine collective energies learn, right? It's like you wouldn't be a divine counterpart if you weren't meant to hold an equal amount of pain and love. Now, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not talking about abusive, trauma bonded connections here. I'm talking about a higher level connection, a connection that calls you to have this oneness love, this Christ consciousness, this unconditional love and acceptance, but that love includes yourself, right? Sometimes the feminines have had to learn on this journey that if we're loving our masculine, and mind you, this is internal or external, if we're loving the masculine energy and that love does not extend to ourself, then our love is incomplete and thus not sustainable. People who've been watching me, you've heard me say different versions of, service being, if your service does not I'm getting tongue-tied, excuse me. I'm a little rusty. If your service or mission does not also extend to self, it is not sustainable, and thus you will burn out. You will burn out because we're meant to love ourselves as much as the divine loves us, right? So, someone I follow on YouTube has said, I'm trying to remember her exact words, that the twin flame connection is the most precise exploration of duality, and it is the most tempting thing to pull us off our path. Now, this is, by the way, it's Meredith over at Meredithia Oracle and Crystal Readings. I think that's the name of her channel, but she's wonderful. I've had sessions with her myself. And that just hits the nail on the head in every direction. It's the most precise mirrored reflection that yanks us out of love, that yanks us out of presence, that, it's the perfect puzzle piece that pushes all of our buttons in the most perfect, precise way, right? Because we need those buttons pushed, or else we will never... God, I don't know how I want to say this. It's like if we never have the abrasion, we will never be able to, be uncomfortable enough to then change and grow, right? So a lot of this discomfort, a lot of these trials and tribulations on the twin flame path are built for us to challenge, to confront something challenging within the soul, to confront the inner parts that are struggling, to confront our triggers, to confront any sort of activations, and to learn how to manage them, how to call our power and our spirit back from places it doesn't belong, and to ground, to hold our center for love in this chaos. So back to masculines. Masculines are learning this lesson of self-love, right? Masculines, I'll speak to directly. If you have spilled a lot of milk on your journey, it can have been, it may have been really painful to confront those around you who are incredibly disappointed in those actions. Maybe you've even been so ashamed of spilling the milk that you've just put a carpet over it and you didn't look at it. But what happens to spilled milk if you don't clean it up? It starts to stink, right? It starts to create a very foul odor, and at some point, other people are going to start to realize. So masculines, I think you're learning that if you don't clean up these certain moments in your life of spilled milk, then it's going to come back and wreak havoc, no pun intended, in your soul. And so you are taking radical accountability for all these times where maybe you've had a misstep, and you're learning to love yourself enough to understand that even if you cannot return to someone's good graces, that you have enough self-love and self-esteem to honor that cleaning up the mess is for you, not just for someone else. This is how we clean up karma. Beautiful, beautiful masculines. I hope I explained that properly, because this is not a small thing. It's very exciting. Let me just feel into if there's anything else there. Yeah, I keep staring at this music card. It was the first card that came out. Part of this healing journey is the management of our frequency. What does that mean? The management of our power. Where are we allowing our power to be invested? Are we getting yanked unconsciously into different directions in our life, or are we choosing? Do we have strong intentions? Are we in alignment with what we're doing? Or are we just getting tossed around? Are we walking towards something, or are we getting shoved towards something? This is really important, masculines, that you're able to differentiate, okay, what really is my choice, and where am I acting out of the unconscious? Am I doing this because I think I should be doing this, or am I a full embodied hell yes? Beautiful. Okay, let's rock over to feminines. Spirit, what do we need to know about feminine energy on the planet? What are they confronting? What are the blocks? What are the solutions to overcoming these blocks? What do we need to know? Okay, what do we got? We have let me see. Let me get it all on camera. We have rebirth and parenting. Yeah, I mean, this is really beautiful, because I could see the mirroring. Both feminine and masculines are cleaning up shop. They're taking accountability for what's going on in their internal parts, right? Are you parenting? Everyone is parenting these internal parts. And maybe, hold on, let me just get all the cards. A whole separate message came out, but I just want to get clarity. Spirituality, turning to the divine, making sure our spiritual practices are supportive and still aligning with our highest and best good. Anything else? Oh, I thought this was going to be the environment card. Perseverance. I mean, if there isn't a card in this deck that describes the feminine, perseverance, I mean, the feminine energy has had to hold so much and continues to hold so much in their womb space. And we have change sideways. I was just talking about this with a friend that I have a lot of spiritual friends, and they're into a lot of different things. And, we talk about all of it. We entertain everything to see if there's any sort of nugget of resonance for us. I'm not in the department of saying, oh, this person's right and this person's wrong. It's more like, oh, what can I find in their experience? What little nugget of experience can I use to support my awareness, my consciousness, my journey inward? And something we've been talking a lot about is that there's this thought on the planet that as old patriarchal imbalance structures crumble, as that infrastructure starts to rattle because of all the cracks of all the imbalances, and not respecting Mother Earth, not respecting the Divine Mother, not respecting feminines, women. You could just go down the line, right? It's like we've built a house on straw, right? It's like such a weak infrastructure that it has to come down and be rebuilt, right? So we can't just we can't just renovate the old structure. We have to demolish it and rebuild it in a way that serves the feminine, and so sorry, I'm tiptoeing around this because I don't want it to come out like I'm anti-masculine or something, but that's my own shadow of being in this patriarchal world. I sometimes, my nervous system contracts because I'm like, oh, am I going to get pounced on because I'm sharing whatever? But again, remember, this is a wound of the patriarchy. We all have masculine and feminine within us. And I'm happy that just happened. Maybe that was divine intervention, that I had to model that awareness, like keep ourselves awake, open, conscious, aware of how we're moving. Where's our nervous system? How is our nervous system communicating with us? How can we more deeply regulate and lean in to this kind of wobbly energy? Because it is going to be wobbly, right? We're literally demolishing and rebuilding something energetically and in the quantum field, and eventually it'll trickle down into 3D, right? Carolyn Mace always says that the world of 3D is the caboose of the train, meaning it is that it comes last. Everything that ever happens in 3D first started in 5D, in the realm of energy, in the realm of spirit. And so keeping that order of operations in check is really, really important. Oh, so the other thought is that, okay, well, what are the new roles of feminine and masculine in this new earth? Like, let's just think tank that for a while and just let our bodies, I don't know, brainstorm about that. And so the ideas that were coming through, and these aren't my ideas, these are other people who are, in the collective consciousness, but that, feminines hold the wisdom. You've heard me say this since the beginning of my channel, that the feminines are literally the gatekeepers of this wisdom. We are literally the ones that I call us the bouncers at the portal at the club. We are the thing, we are the vessel, we are the portal to which the divine births new life through. So it's not that we're better, it's just a matter of location, like location, right? We're just right there. We literally birth all souls, not feminine, not masculine, all souls, all balanced feminine and masculine souls through this physical vessel. We're the ones that anchor these templates, these energies in the 3D plane. So the thought is to rightfully restore the feminine to this throne, or to, I don't want to say that the masculine, we all have our thrones, right? But it's I'm done tiptoeing. Let me just say it. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to say it, but I could feel my chest contracting, but it's important. The idea is that the feminines will be the wisdom keepers, are the wisdom keepers, have always been the wisdom keepers. And the masculine's job is to step into the role as the warrior, to protect the feminine, to protect the perimeter of the energetic system that protects the feminine, that allows the feminine to thrive. And in that, it like restores some sort of balance. I'm just going to leave it there. There's so much there. Maybe I'll do a whole video just on that topic. Listen, this is the work, right? If this conversation or thinking about these topics is triggering you, pay attention to that. Take ownership over what about this is scary. Listen, I have a master's in women's studies. I did an undergrad in women's studies. I was in that world for, 16 years. It's like, what is that world? I guess what I mean is like the radical feminist world. I was around that community. I was having those really hard conversations, but I had so much personal wounding about feminine, masculine energies in my own body that approaching these topics from an academic only standpoint wasn't enough for me. It actually triggered me more. And some of you might be feeling that because we have a lot of political upheaval right now, and there's a lot of pressure in the bubble right now, right? There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of differing views. And again, it doesn't change your inner work. Your inner work is, can I call my spirit back from places it doesn't belong and ground in the present moment? Can I call in love and anchor in love in this present moment, despite what's going on around me? So if this was a little edgy of ideas and topics for you, if it felt a little activating, that's really important. Write it down, journal about it. Sorry, my throat just closed up. If some of you have been keeping your truth hidden and locked away because of these power imbalances, either within yourself or outside of yourself, it's time to start allowing your throat to open up, to really start communicating, even if that's just communicating with yourself, even if you just dare to put it on a piece of paper, like dare to put it on the page to get it out of yourself. I have to take a sip of water. This is like a lot. I should do a whole video on like my whole journey in spiritual awakening. Long story short, like I was in that world for a very long time, and I was studying ecofeminism and eco-oneness, and I had a concentration in maternal health care and all the imbalances and inequality in healthcare. It was so upsetting. It was so disheartening and painful. I needed more. I'm getting emotional now because I just thinking back to me and my level of consciousness back then, like I wasn't equipped. And yet I also know that was perfectly divine timing, because then it sort of laid the groundwork for my spiritual awakening. It pushed me. It was a different flavor of abrasion. You know, there's that great video of that rabbi that went viral talking about the lobster. Have you heard this before? He's like, what would happen, you know, I'm trying to remember the whole story. Long story short, how lobsters grow is that they outgrow their shell, and then they shed their shell. He's saying, what if a young lobster who was uncomfortable in their old tight shell went to a doctor and was like, Doc, I'm in a lot of pain in my shell here. You know, I don't know what to do. And the doc gave him like a Valium or gave him some painkiller to numb that experience. He would just be in pain, but stuck in this smaller shell, instead of confronting the pain and allowing that pain to give him the message that it's time to shed his shell. So there's something here about understanding that pain and abrasion is for growth. And when it's not used as growth, it numbs the situation and holds us back. And so I think a lot of this discomfort, we have to not catastrophize the energy and actually allow that discomfort in our bodies, to allow it to be there long enough to make us want to move it, right? To make us want to move towards change, to take a step forward, to start shedding our shells in some capacity. I'll have to find that video. If I find it, I'll put it in the links. Woo, okay. We're about, 18, 19 minutes in. Yeah, this is funny. This came out. We have a physical activity card. Okay, I'm getting two messages here. One, this is a self-care actual message around your physical activity. Like, are you taking care of your body? Are you feeding it nutritious food? Are you taking accountability for how you care for yourself? So that was the first very topical message. The second message here is, are you allowing the divine to penetrate your physical world? How's your connection to source? How's your connection to spirit? How's your connection to the quantum field, to the universe? Whatever your version, your flavor of God is, when's the last time you've carved out some space to nurture that connection, to nurture that love partnership here? Oh my God, you know, it's in the unconscious, spiritual partnership. Oh goodness. And you can't make this up. Feminines, you also have the spirituality, but this is in the union energies here. So feminines, masculines, you are being called to reground in source. Or would you like it better if I said the sourceless source? There's something here about either renewing or, let me get another deck. There's something here about renewing this like unconditionally loving relationship you've had with the divine. Maybe some of you have repressed that for a very long time. Maybe some of you have just confronted so much pain and so much abrasion that you lost that lost the line of connection to source. There's something about that. Wait, what do I want to use? Hold on. Okay. Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay. Please say more about this union energy. Anything else for union energies? So I forget, I'm moving so fast, but I'm forgetting. For some of you that don't know, I always look at the card on the bottom of the deck. For me, that is what is in the unconscious position, meaning what are we pushing into the shadows? So both feminine and masculines are pushing our relationship with the divine in the shadows. Why? Why are we doing this? Listen, when you allow the divine to intentionally, consciously move through your life, when you give consent to the quantum field, to the universe, to your angels, to your God, to gods, to your spirit guides, to your ancestors, to come into your life and move things around for your highest and best good, things will move around. So it's understandable to me if this is very scary for some of you right now to actually say, yes, God, take the wheel. Take me to where I need to go. I surrender my will to divine will. That's a scary place. And you don't just go surrendering willy-nilly. That is something that sometimes takes years or a lifetime working with a spiritual guide or mentor to feel safe enough to do that. As I said that, I immediately was interrupted and, and then there's like the parenting style that's like you want to teach your kid how to swim. They throw the kid in the deep end in the pool and you sink or swim, you figure it out, right? I'm feeling that for some of you, it's a split. I don't know. I'm getting like a 50-60. No, I'm sorry, a 40-60. That was so weird that 50-60 came out. I wonder if that's something else. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Maybe they'll share it with me after. But listen, I know it's scary, but this would not be in your unconscious if it wasn't on deck. Like in sports, when you have a player on deck, like say in baseball, who's on deck or whatever it is, it's like the next person up. Well, this is the shadow that's on deck. This is what's about to come into the light, come out of the unconscious into your consciousness. And so I'm just naming it. So remember what I'm talking about. Remember that this doesn't have to be as scary. Listen, going back to the abrasion and I don't know where I saw that or how that came out in the cards, but I think the other big messages here is when you feel pain, when you feel abrasion, when you're failing, when you're struggling to call your spirit back from places it doesn't belong, call on source, call on spirit to intervene in your 3D life. I think that's what's so underrated about, listen, the 5D life, the quantum field, that's where we came from. That is our home base, not this 3D experience, right? We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so it seems really silly not to call upon our home base to help us, right? So it's like it takes a while to sort of recalibrate the order of operations. And sometimes, it can be really discouraging if you've been banging your head against the wall in 3D and things are not coming into fruition, but you're trying and trying and trying. Try surrendering. Try surrendering and creating enough sacred silence so that something else can come in. right? If we are constantly filling our time and space, we're not leaving a spot open for the mystery. We're not leaving a spot open for the divine or the quantum field to gift us with something. Okay, is there anything else for Union Energy, Spirit? Do you want to say more about this love partnership with the divine and allowing the divine to penetrate our physical reality? Is there anything else you want to share? My voice is getting gravelly already. Oh, okay. What do we got? Yeah, worthy. Oh, I'm going to cry. Yeah. Hold on. I'm ugly crying. We are worthy to receive this. Like I said, I believe in oneness, right? I have a Pisces sun. We are the oneness sign. This is our business. Like oneness is our thing, right? And so it's my job to remind you that even though you may be scared of the divine, of this connection with something bigger than yourself, this thing that's bigger than yourself is not other than you. You are both God and not God simultaneously. And this is the paradoxical truth of spiritual wisdom. Like, this is just how it is. And I know that's very hard for us to wrap our brains around. Like, how can a piece of the infinite be in me? I'm sorry, I'm just very moved by this. But we are worthy to honor this truth and to move from a place of authority. It's like when you actually listen, when you let God or this, even the concept of oneness into your heart, it's like this ineffable experience. It freaking breaks down all of these minor, like puny attachments that we have, these egoic attachments. It will like incinerate anything that's not love. You are worthy. Again, this goes back to what I said earlier around if your love, your service, your mission, your career, your job, your flavor of being in service in this world does not include service to yourself, it is incomplete and you are not honoring the divine part of self. Call upon grace if you are stuck in patterns of unworthiness, of low self-esteem, lack of confidence. In order to, I'm getting a huge, sharp pain in my solar plexus. It's having me look at this yellow card. This is parenting. You are being called to step into the role as the divine parent, to parent the parts of you that don't feel worthy. It's like, sorry, let me take a sip of something. Okay. Imagine an actual kid. Imagine if your kid came up to you one day. I don't care if you don't have kids, but just imagine with me if your kid came up to you and was like, I'm ugly, I'm dumb, I'm all these things. Like, you wouldn't for a second, as that child's parent, let them believe those things. You would do whatever it took to parent that part of them that was suffering, that maybe was being bullied, that was, fill in the blank. Whatever it is, you would do whatever it took to make sure that child knew that they were loved, knew that they were valued and wise and brilliant and deserving of all of the pleasure and fun and play and friends and experiences on the planet. Like, you would do whatever it took. And so you are being called, feminines and masculines, to parent yourself through this difficult unworthiness. But listen, let me remind you, you are playing on a very high level. You're playing a high level unworthiness game. This isn't like, oh, I don't like my ankles, or I don't like my amount of money in the bank account. This is like, I'm struggling to know you, God. Help me get there. Help me approach you with grace and ease and confidence. Sorry, this is not small potatoes here. This is a really big thing. I just looked down in the unconscious position. We have sacrifice. Here's the thing, by getting closer to the divine, you're going to have to sacrifice your puny human self. And I understand how scary that is. That's why we're talking about it. That's why it's coming up in this reading. This is scary because here's the thing, when you actually let divine love into your heart, even if it's just a crack, your entire life has to change to meet this new level of self-esteem. When you finally understand how worthy you are, you will be given orders on how to share that love on the planet. And it is scary. It is scary. It has happened to me many, many times. And I'm like, shit. Sorry, I'm very emotional about it because it's such an awakening, scary moment, and it feels so real. And I think that's what people don't understand is like, the divine will come into your life and feel more real than anything in 3D. It's so profound. Let me stop crying and get it together, even though I know my tears are little drops of love for the universe. My tears are a celebration. Like, listen, God wants you to sacrifice this puny egoic self. Like, it's like because God sees what you are going to be. God holds that. And I keep saying God. When I say God, just know it's a placeholder for this like quantum infinite, like sourceless source, this creator, this creation energy, whatever your flavor is. But just know that that's how I'm using God. When you sacrifice your puny little self, God makes way for this next version of self. And maybe it's not in my experience, well, I don't know if I should share this. Okay. Just really quickly, in my experience, yes, it can be little micro steps. Yes, God can give you different orders that are sequential, like, okay, you need this skill to be who you're going to be. So now I'm going to give you this circumstance. So you have to overcome this because you need the skill from overcoming that thing to then do this other thing, right? Yes, that can happen. However, and this is the kind of, I understand why people are scared. There's also the other type of transformation where the divine comes in and bulldozes your life completely, and you go through a massive dark night of the soul, and you go through this massive ascension awakening experience. It's happened to me many times. And God's like, you know what? No, you're taking too long. So I'm going to bulldoze your entire life. So you have to be this person like tomorrow or next week or this year or whatever it is. And sometimes, not all the time, but in most of my experiences, when God is asking me to transform that quickly and to really let go of a lot of these puny parts of myself, it's a painful experience. It's a painful experience. It's like, have any of you ever had altitude sickness? Have any of you ever like driven through the mountains? Like, I used to drive from Denver to Aspen or Vail or into the mountains to all those ski towns. And altitude sickness is a real thing. They sell cans of oxygen like at the gas stations. Like, it's a real thing. And you have to ascend slowly or else your head's going to feel like it's in a vice. I remember getting dizzy. I had a headache. I felt nauseous. I thought I was going to throw up all the time. Like, it's not a small thing. It's a very big deal. And you have to ascend slowly, right? Well, God doesn't give a shit. If God needs you somewhere at a certain time, God's going to shove you up the mountain, right? Or yank you up the mountain. And so it's up to us to understand what's going on and take care of our physical vessel in an appropriate manner. Okay. Whew. I feel like I don't want to stop because this is my first twin flame reading back in action and I just want to keep going. Let me do another round and see how far we get. What do we want to do? Nope, I got it. Okay, I'm listening. Sorry, these cards haven't been shuffled. Give me a moment. Okay, Spirit, anything else you want us to know? Is there anything else that would support understanding this whole worthiness sacrifice dynamic, this binary here? Because, okay, I was just going to go off on a tangent. Yeah, the formation of the soul. I mean, look at this card. Hold on. Look at this card. I just noticed, I thought that was a human, but these are all little butterflies. Butterflies symbolize transformation. I mean, come on. I just asked the question. Let's remember what I asked. I asked, what is this? Can you explain the binary between this worthiness and sacrifice? To become the next iteration of self, to transform, we have to sacrifice the old version of self. This is what makes space for the formation of our new spirit. The other way you could look at it is that your soul is of a certain resonance or frequency. And so your vessel has to rise to meet that frequency. Like many of you have seen where they have like an opera singer sing at a certain frequency and it breaks a glass. So sometimes our soul is operating at a resonance that our vessel cannot hold, and it causes dissonance in the system. I'm not saying our bodies are going to break down. However, by the way, the reason the glass breaks is because the singer is singing at the same resonance, the same frequency as the glass. So whatever, that's a whole nother story. But we are cultivating an appropriate container, a vessel, a 3D body that can serve the longitude and latitude of spirit, of how our soul spirit wants to move through. Picture, like, I hate to say this, but I almost feel like our body is like a robot suit for the soul. And we are learning how to take orders from the soul. But our order of operations is so skewed. So many of us take orders from the body and then get lost along the way. Well, of course we're lost because we're not listening to, the captain, right? Anything else, Spirit? Actually, hold on. Are there any other questions about this coming up? Can you talk about, is there any self-care? Let's go into self-care, Spirit. This was an intense reading, and I want to make sure everyone has some, loving next steps. Is there anything else you want to share about that for the highest and best good of self and the planet? Yeah, self-care. Connection came out in reverse. So make sure you're not doing this alone. Listen, some of the things that you're going through are going to alienate and isolate yourself. If you do your work conscientiously, you will find your people. That's, I think, a Jungian quote, or I got that from a Jungian quote. This is like unavoidable. When you start putting out and getting comfortable with this new frequency, you will literally like magnetize and pull people towards you. People that vibrate with what you vibrate with, people that are working with what you're working with. You will find these unknown friends. I'm telling you, I've done it so many times in my life, and I still have some old friends, but they're not in the trenches doing the work with me. My consciousness friends are my teammates. They are my like soul partners. And I don't doubt that, and maybe you don't believe in soul contracts, but I do. I don't doubt that we all signed a soul contract and agreed to like come into contact with each other at this time, at this date. And we're like, okay, we're going to help each other do this because it's really hard and you need buddies and you need support. Sorry, I'm getting emotional again because this stuff demolishes you from the inside out. It's so freaking intense, and you need to make sure that you have a connection to something. Maybe it's to nature. Maybe it's to your best friend. Maybe it's to a family member. Maybe it's to, people on YouTube. Maybe it's in the comment section of someone you really love and support. Maybe, it's like just you're being asked to be open to not handling this yourself, to not thinking that you have to handle this yourself. Thank you so much for that, Spirit. Great, great tip. Is there anything else you want to share for the union energies? Is there anything else you want me to talk about? What do we got here? It came out in reverse. Moderation. So moderation came out in reverse. So, wow, doesn't this person kind of look like Lady Gaga from that point of view? Sorry, I just got distracted. Bright, shiny things. So where in your life, mind you, feminines and masculines, listen up. Where in your life can you take greater accountability for temperance? Where do you need to moderate something in your life? Is it something tangible and physical? Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating healthy food? Are you moving your body enough? Are you spending too much time on your phone, on social media? Are you not spending enough time connecting with people? And are the people that you're connecting with not soul connections, right? We could be around a million people every day, but not having quality connections. So you're being asked to bring these different areas of your life into balance, into temperance. Thank you, Spirit. Anything else? All right, we have heat and we have influence. They both came out in reverse. I don't know. Hold on, let me just feel that for a moment. I don't know what to say about that. I haven't been speechless in a very long time. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else you want to say about that? We have all these reversals. We have discernment and patterns. Okay. Okay. So you're being called to take accountability, masculines and feminines, for your own patterns of relating and behavior. You're being called, right now, your discernment is out of whack. What does that mean? That means your ability to access your intuition is out of whack. That's totally in alignment for me right now, because our ability to access our intuition is directly related with worthiness and self-esteem. So in order to fix your intuition, fix your discernment, you have to fix your self-esteem. So what can you do right now today to boost your self-esteem? Is it an affirmation? Is it loving a part of yourself that you're struggling with? Is it parenting a part of yourself that you're struggling with? Is it going for a walk? Is it helping someone else? Is it being kind to a friend? Is it, showing up for your friend's dinner that you really didn't want to go to, but you know it would mean so much to them? How can you boost your self-esteem in this moment when you can interrupt these patterns that keep you stuck, that keep you small? And listen, the craziest part about this is that really small things can contribute to your self-esteem. Like, say I really love doing yoga in the morning and I love having a cup of tea and I love journaling, but I instead made the choice to binge watch something last night. I stayed up too late and now I'm not going to wake up early. I'm just going to sleep in late and skip my morning routine. That might not seem like a huge deal, especially if I only do it once in a blue moon, but it contributes to my self-esteem for the rest of the day. That yoga does so much for my back, my body. It gives me confidence. I feel looser. I feel more grounded and present as I start the day. Journaling helps me like purge what's in my brain so I can meet the day as an empty vessel. All these things, we might think of them as like a task on a to-do list, but really all these little things were little nuggets of soul wisdom. And when we don't honor them, we start to create little fractures in our system. We start to create little splits, if you will. And so don't underestimate the power of, like, if you get an intuition to like go for a walk, do it. Don't wait. Don't say, oh, I should go for a walk. Just go for a walk. And if you can't do 30 minutes, do 10 minutes or 5 minutes even. Just breathe some fresh air. Maybe that 5 minutes, you're going to get an awareness that's going to be a bridge to the next moment, right? Maybe you need to go for a walk. Maybe that's divine orders that you just got and now you're avoiding them and your ego's talking yourself out of it, right? This is so important. I'm not saying it's easy. This is one of the hardest things for me to do. For me, I know that doing at least 30 minutes of yoga every morning is the best thing I could do for myself. I rarely do it. And that is a battle that I have to make within myself. It's one of the hardest things. Okay, I just happened to look down in the unconscious position. We have stretch in reverse. Yeah, okay. So it's in the unconscious position. So what you're pushing into the shadows is this idea of stretching. Sorry, I just wanted to look at this card. Wow, this is a wild card. Look at this for a second. It almost looks like fascia or the nervous system, like all of these kind of are branches of a tree. So when you hear stretch, what would it be like to stretch yourself? Is there a spot in your life, a place in your life where you are called to expand, but you, because of whatever reason, out of fear, insecurity, are keeping small? This is your focus, whatever this is. And I'm laughing. I love how the divine works, how the core message of what we're working with is the last card I pull. Of course, basically, like, what are you being called to that's edgy right now for you? What would be a stretch? For me, I'm trying to think of something stretchy. I'm trying to think of something stretchy that's not like like I have a fear of public speaking, or maybe this is an old story because I public speak all day long. So I just laugh that I've even said that out loud. Maybe I've overcome it. I don't know. But public speaking to a room full of like 5,000 people, that would be terrifying to me. So that's not a stretch. That's like a massive leap and bound. And I might rip if I try to stretch that far. But maybe something that would be edgy for me is speaking to a room full of 100 people or 50. I don't know. So find that lighter edge and lean towards it. You don't have to leap over it, but what would it take for you to lean towards it and witness yourself? Witness yourself, watch what's happening in your body, pay attention, be on alert with all your senses to what's moving in your body when you get close to an edge. Okay. Is that all we're doing? I think that's all we're doing. Let's end on a Buddha wisdom card. Spirit, what would you like to end on? What would you like to end on? What would you like us to flow into? Okay, we have give thanks for what has been given to you, however little. Yeah, being present with how far you've come and this journey. And right now, if you're going through a tough time, understand who you're going to be on the other side of it. That makes the pain or the discomfort a little more palatable. So give thanks in these micro places. Or if someone lends you a pen and you really needed a pen, like give thanks for that. Or if, a bird flies over when you're outside on your lunch break, it's like, give thanks for that. That bird is joining you on your lunch break. Whatever it is, be grateful for money in your bank account, for warm sheets, for food in your fridge, for a roof over your head, for people that love you. Whatever it is, you're being called to give thanks. All right, I'm going to leave it there. This was such a lovely reading. My first reading back in action. I'm really grateful to still be here doing this work. Much love to you all. I hope this was supportive, and I will see you in the next one.